It was supposed to be a simple date night. A guy named Ryan had just started seeing a woman named Mia a few weeks earlier. Things were going well. She was funny, easy to talk to, and had this natural charm that made it feel like they'd known each other longer than they had. One night, she invited him over to her place for dinner. Her apartment was outside the city, about 30 minutes away in a quiet neighborhood filled with duplexes and houses set back from the street. Ryan agreed. He offered to bring wine, and she told him to be there at 7. The evening started off normal. Mia opened the door smiling, wearing a soft green sweater and jeans. The apartment was small but neat. There was soft music playing, candles lit, and the smell of something savory coming from the kitchen. She served pasta with garlic bread, and they sat at her small 2-person table by the window. They talked about work, movies, bad Tinder dates. It was cozy, comfortable. Ryan liked her. Halfway through dinner, she paused and said, "Hold on. I forgot the salad." She disappeared into the kitchen. Ryan used the time to check his phone, nothing urgent, and took another bite of pasta. That's when he noticed something strange. Across the room, on the counter near the sink, was another plate. Not just a plate, a full setting. Pasta, garlic bread, even a folded napkin. Identical to what he had in front of him. At first, he thought maybe she had made extra. But it wasn't just leftovers. It was plated, ready to eat, like she had been expecting someone else. Mia came back with the salad. Ryan, trying to stay casual, gestured toward the counter and asked, "Expecting a roommate?" Mia paused mid-step. For a split second, her face changed. Not fear, more like a flicker of calculation. Then she smiled. "Oh, no. That's just a habit. I always make 2 plates. Force of habit. Feels weird to eat alone otherwise." She laughed it off and set down the salad. But something about her tone felt rehearsed. Ryan didn't push it. They kept eating, though now he was more aware, his ears tuning to little sounds in the apartment, the hum of the fridge, the creak of pipes, footsteps from the neighbor upstairs. Or were they from upstairs? He wasn't sure anymore. Later, she offered him coffee. He said yes. She got up again and walked toward the kitchen. As she turned, he noticed something else. The second plate, the one that had been on the counter, was gone. He hadn't heard her touch it. He hadn't heard dishes move. But it wasn't there anymore. Trying not to seem obvious, he stood and stretched, walking a bit closer to the kitchen under the excuse of looking at a framed photo on the wall. There was no sign of the second plate. Not in the sink. Not on the counter. Nowhere. Just 2 steaming mugs on the stove. And something else. From the hallway behind the kitchen, he heard it. A floorboard creaking. Not from Mia. From someone else. Someone standing still. Ryan's body tensed. He looked at Mia. She hadn't heard it, or pretended not to. He asked, "You live here alone, right?" Mia didn't answer immediately. She stirred the sugar into his coffee, handed it to him, then finally said, "Yeah, just me." "Why?" He stared at her. "Because I swear I just heard someone walking down your hallway." She turned to glance at the dark hallway behind her. Then, without missing a beat, she smiled again. "You probably heard my neighbor upstairs. He's always pacing." She took a sip of her coffee and walked back to the table. Ryan stood there for a second longer, pretending to drink, but his mind was racing. The second plate, the hallway creak, her 2 perfect reactions. He decided to test something. "I actually left my wallet in my car," he said casually. "Be right back." She smiled again, but it looked thinner this time. "Want me to come with?" He shook his head. "Nah, I'll be 2 seconds." He walked out the door, pulled it shut, and waited on the front step. 30 seconds passed. Then he heard it. Footsteps. Quick. Inside. He leaned closer to the door. The sound of a man's voice, low, muffled, came from somewhere deep in the apartment. He couldn't make out the words. Then Mia's voice. Not soft and flirty anymore. Just firm. Almost annoyed. "I told you to stay in the room until I gave the signal." Ryan didn't wait to hear the rest. He walked fast to his car. Didn't run, didn't want to alert them. He got in, locked the doors, and pulled away from the curb as fast as he could without squealing the tires. Once he was safely a few blocks away, he called the police. He didn't know exactly what was happening in that apartment, but he told them everything. The second plate, the footsteps, the voices. They said they'd send a unit. He never heard back. Never got a follow-up call. And when he tried to find her profile again online, it was gone. No phone number. No last name. It was like she never existed. He sometimes wonders how many guys sat at that same dinner table, eating pasta, thinking they were lucky, and how many never got to notice the second plate before it was too late.